It has now been more than 30 years since Ron Wyatt told James Irwin, one of the 12 men who walked on the moon, that Ron and his two sons were going to go into Saudi Arabia. They were going to cross the desert at night and get to the site that he believed was Mount Sinai. He ended up with his sons in prison for the next 76 days. And since then, there has been a lot of problems getting into the real Mount Sinai. Wyatt was stripped of all of his evidence, and so Jim and Penny Caldwell, American oil field engineers working for Saudi Aramco for 9 years, were able to bring the evidence of Mount Sinai out to the world, but at a great risk to them. And they have been down in the ditch with Bedouin gun barrels on the back of their heads. They have been arrested several times. The people that have gone in there have gone in under great duress and under risk of their lives. But now we have with us Andrew Jones, who's logged in more than 15,000 miles through the Arabian desert, and he is with us, and he is there at Mount Sinai at this very moment. Andrew, tell us what is going on there. Things have changed, obviously.
Hey, Michael. Yes. Welcome to the land of Midian. I am at the base of Mount Sinai. You can see the sun setting behind me, hitting the peaks of Jebel Makla, which many believe to be the real Mount Sinai in Saudi Arabia. And we are here right now on a tour and also helping guide Dr. David Kim's group around for their research. And yes, things have changed here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They're now issuing tourist visas, and we are taking full advantage of that.
Now, something has happened right there at the base of the mountain that makes this uplink available to us, to where we're interviewing you. What do you see at the base of Mount Sinai? Instead of Bedouin gun barrels, what are you seeing?
Yeah, right in front of me on the other side of this ridge are new cell towers. There's actually 2 or 3 new ones. And so this is making it possible for us to talk to you guys live from the base of the real Mount Sinai.
This is absolutely incredible. Now you have been there so many times. You brought back so many videos of 4K ultra high definition from this area, and where you're standing here. Tell us a little bit about that site for those who have not had the opportunity yet to get a tourist visa and go over there.
Yeah, I'm on the eastern side of Jebel Makla, which we consider the front. So right behind me, you could see the peaks. There are 2 or 3 peaks of this mountain that we call Mount Sinai. And so up on the lower peak, there is the Cave of Elijah. And right behind me is what we call the Holy Precinct, which is the fenced off area that they put the guard shack and fenced off the base of the mountain back in the 80s. And so now you can walk right in, and with the local tourist guides, they can show you the altar of Moses, which is right behind me too. And so this is the eastern side of Mount Sinai. And right behind me, the sun is hitting the southern ridge of Jebel Makla, which is, again, Mount Sinai in Arabia.
Now, out there in that area, you have what convinced the Saudi government that this is real Mount Sinai, the altar to the golden calf, made of unhewn stones. That is not too far from where you are. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just actually, instead of behind me, it's in front of me. And just right across the little wadi, the valley right here, the dry riverbed, is the fenced off area with the cow petroglyphs that the Saudi archaeologist told Ron Wyatt in 1985 that these are Egyptian-style bulls and cows. So we believe that they represented the cow goddess Hathor and the cow god Apis from ancient Egypt. And so when you see the site and see Mount Sinai, which is, again, right behind me, you then, the story comes alive, and you see, what happened when the Israelites were worshiping that golden calf right in front of the fire on top of Mount Sinai. Crazy story, but, it happened, and you can imagine your mind now by seeing these actual sites, how the event took place.
Now, you are very much involved with Tim Mahoney's next 2 movies that are coming out, which is The Red Sea Crossing, and then, of course, he's going to be doing more on this, but you have been providing the background for some of the things that Tim couldn't get, some of the video.
Yes, that is correct. So earlier this year, I was out in Egypt with our videographer from Dallas, Clint, and also Randall Lee, Mary Nell's husband. We were out there investigating the route of the Exodus on the Egyptian side, and we also took video of the traditional crossing sites at the different lakes. And then we provided Tim Mahoney numerous video clips from this area of Midian. And so we did some more filming this fall when I was over here with Joel Richardson's group. I did a couple days of filming for Dr. Glenn Fritz's route of the Exodus, which goes from the Nuweiba crossing site to this mountain here in Saudi Arabia. And so we were driving along his route of the Exodus and filming it. And some of those clips, I believe, will be in Tim's next two films.
Well, we're very excited for the release of the movie, your part in it, and we thank you for doing this. And now you're doing all this in the middle of your work on Noah's Ark as well.
Yes, that is correct. Now, thankfully, when it's summertime in Turkey, when we can do the most work, it's too hot over here in Saudi Arabia to do much research because it's out in the desert. So in the winter times, in the late fall and early spring, we can be out here in Saudi Arabia doing the Exodus and Mount Sinai research. And then when it hits summertime, we can head over to Turkey and continue the research on Noah's Ark.
Now, down in the desert, it does get cold. I see you've got a hat on and a coat.
That is correct. Now, we're at a little higher elevation here on the eastern side. This is the side that has the plain of encampment by the Israelites. And so in the wintertime, it's December here. So it's a high desert area, about 4,000 to 5,000 feet elevation. So it can get chilly in the shadows. But in the daytime, it's really nice.
Well, now you are with your friend, Joel Richardson, and Joel was the one who saw the petroglyphs of the archers there at the base of Mount Sinai. Have you been able to see that with him?
Yes. So on his trip, I did not see it, but I knew the location. He had given me the GPS coordinates. And so we saw it a couple weeks ago. We went up that valley we call the Middle Valley. It's in between the two peaks of Jebel Makla, Mount Sinai. And so we went up there and located both of the panels that have the red painted archers with ochre red paint. And so it's very similar to the red painted bulls that you see on the Golden Calf altar site. They have similar red painted figures, and these are really rare because they don't last out in the desert unless it's under overhang. And so that is the case with both these sites. There's an overhang, and these red figures are still preserved there. So they're quite rare. In fact, today we found, I believe, 2 to 3 more figures that are red painted out in the plain. I don't know who did them, and we'll have to send you guys the photos, but we just saw that about an hour ago. We were driving through the plain with the Israelites encamped, and just accidentally came across them. One of the South Africans on our tour spotted it. And so it's quite interesting. There's many more things that can be discovered out here just driving around.
Yeah, there's so much to explore out there, and thank you for doing that, for paving the way. Now the Saudis are on board. This is going to be part of their whole NEOM project, is it not? To bring tourist and high tech into that part of the world.
Yes, in fact, when we were at one of the oases that some call Elam and other they call Mara. But there's a sign there that says this is a NEOM nature preserve. And so they're putting up these signs for NEOM at different spots already in this area where the NEOM project will be happening.
Well, I want to thank you personally for bringing back one of the seed pods from the 70 palms of Elim. We're planning on planting that here in our office so that people can come in and see one of those palms that the children of Israel actually stopped at that oasis. So this is going to be a living treat for the people that come to a rude awakening.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, we'll try to get some more for you guys in case that one does not grow. But yes, it's amazing that people can come out here now on their own. We just ran into some Americans out here, and they came on their own. They found a local guide. Another person was hitchhiking and got a ride with a Saudi, and they're up on the mountain. Dr. Kim's team's up there right now filming for him and for his story. And so it's been amazing seeing the change from way back when Ron was first taken, was jailed here for coming in illegally, and now you can come in legally with tourist visas. It's an amazing change.
This is incredible. And you got started on this project. Really, you were a teenager. You were in middle school at that time when you became aware of this, and you have really been doing this your entire life.
Yeah, when I was in school, Ron Wyatt came out to Sacramento, California, where I was living, and he did a one night meeting, and it was a school night. So my father went, and he came back and said, "This one man said he found everything: Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah, and then of course the real Mount Sinai." And so I finally got involved, and I was doing the research and making phone calls, and I called up Ron and Mary Nell, talked to them for many hours in the 90s. And in fact, I thought of, just dreaming about coming out here. And it was on my mind so much that one time I had a dream that I was at the base of Mount Sinai, and the Saudis had these spotlights on me, and it was nighttime, and they were chasing me across the plain. So that's how much it was on my mind at that time. But now, thankfully you can just drive out here, and there's a gas station at the base of the mountain with a convenience store, and no one's going to be chasing you around.
Yeah, and now that really was the reality back then. And the last time Jim and Penny went in with Tim Mahoney, with Aaron Sen, they said they'd never go back again because they ended up down in a ditch with gun barrels in the back of their heads, being threatened with death. So, for you to be there, broadcasting from a cell tower at Mount Sinai, this puts to bed all these naysayers that said, "Oh, Ron Wyatt, he couldn't have found these things," and all the unjust criticism that he took to the grave. You have now documented these things, and you are in the process of actually being involved in the excavation and the documentation by the Turkish government of the real Noah's Ark.
Yes, it's been quite a blessing to be involved, and I don't know what my life would be without this type of research and coming over here. I've been very blessed to be a part of the work and know Randall and Mary Nell, and of course I knew Ron Wyatt, and then those who are like you and others who are promoting the work. It's just been a great part of my life, and I'm thankful to be a part of it.
Well, it is a privilege for you to be with us on this program, and we are glad to help you get this message out. And please, now we know that the relatives of Moses' father-in-law and his family are still there. I hear them in the background. They're herding the goats in the area. Please say hello to Moses' in-laws for us, okay?
Yes, I'll say marhaba. I'll tell them hi, and maybe I'll be eating one of the goats tonight for dinner. I don't know.
Well, shalom, brother. Thank you so much for being with us, taking the time. And Andrew, you're going to be back with us, hopefully back together in the studio when you get back in January. So we'll be hearing a lot more about this, won't we?
Yes, I plan to fill you guys in on our latest research and promote Tim Mahoney's new films about the Red Sea crossing and what we have documented out there, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, brother. Shalom, shalom. We'll see you before the smoke clears.